Okay, for this video we are going to look at the adjustment brush, which is a way to further fine-tune the gradients. So as you can see from this picture, it's very overly exposed, so we need to lower that first of all. So we're going to lower the exposure, and now that's quite level, however the background is quite distracting from the person in the foreground, so we might want to lower that exposure even further, maybe to something like this. However, now we want this person to be in focus. So instead of using these other tools, we can be a bit more specific. So we go to the adjustment brush, which is over here, click on that, go to select mask overlay, and we can make this bigger and smaller. And we are just going to brush over the person, like so. And you can make it a bit smaller if you need to cover the areas like sticking out. We'll do something like that. Now if we go over to the exposure part, we can higher it and lower it. So wherever it was here. If we just raise that a tiny bit, maybe to somewhere like there, maybe a bit higher. And then we can also push the contrast up as well, maybe to there, and lower the exposure. And then we can do other things. So we've got things like clarity. We can move the clarity up. As you can see, that makes it a lot more detailed, but you can see all the grooves and veins and things in his face. You might want to lower it so it becomes a bit smoother. Ideally, you probably want something a little less than middle. So maybe somewhere like there. The face looks quite cold, so we could increase this temperature, make it a little bit warmer, maybe something like this. So now, as you can see, there's much more focus on the person in the foreground as opposed to the background now. And if you look at the original and the new picture, and also you might want to do certain bits. So you see his eyes a bit in the shadow here, so what we could do is click on make another tool. We could zoom in. We could do the eye here. Zoom out a bit. Go to the exposure, and we could just lift that. Not too much. Just a little bit, just so we can see the eye a bit more. Be something like this. And then we can also do things like we can improve the saturation. So you can see we can make it lower or a lot brighter. You can bump the saturation up maybe to about here. And that is how we use the adjustment tool.